right. Well, if you listen to that letter, they were blessed by a sound system and some projector equipment. And maybe you don't know this or not, but that came from us. Yes, so we were honored to be able to give that to them. We had it sitting in our room when we started replacing stuff, just sitting there, and we were going to try selling some of it. And I thought, well, I wonder if there's a missionary. And then I thought about him, and with the new work and all, and he was like, absolutely. So last time they were here, I don't know, the Wednesday they were here in, was it January? January. They picked it all up and took it with them. So we're glad that they're able to use that. That's a blessing to be able to help them. So, amen. So you've read a couple missionary letters, and you're gonna see a real missionary letter tonight in action. But before I have Brother Russell come, just quickly on the Welcome Center out there, if you came in, if you didn't get one, there is a prayer list for tonight. It only has 3 things on it. Okay. So rather than taking time out of our service tonight like we typically would do and go over each one of them and pray, we're going to let you take those home this week and pray over them, okay? Rista's mom is back in the hospital, and so pray for her. And then Alicia had mentioned a little boy named Ethan, 5 years old, hospitalized, and another one's just our children's ministries, and we want to continue to pray for them as they're growing and moving, kind of like Brother Lopez is there. So, so remember them if you would. So, yes. Okay. Right. Yes. She I won't tell you what she really needs because it makes her mad, but she needs to be somewhere that can care for her full time right now. And that, I think that's a prayer more than anything, is to come to the place where you say, I'm willing to I'm willing to take that step. So okay, good. Yeah, okay. All right. So yeah, she's a mess. So remember Donna, and I know she appreciates that. And I'd send out a message to many of our ladies, if you got time to pop in and just visit for a few minutes, she appreciates that as well, or call her on the phone, whatever. But I know she appreciates any company that way as well. So, all right. So again, you can take those lists home and make sure you pray for those folks this week. All right. And we are privileged tonight to have a real live missionary. And we mentioned this on Sunday for our kids. Brother Russell, I'll show you.
Oh, no.
Jason Russell Flowers, the ugliest picture I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But I'm kidding. But and we gave these to all the kids, and we told them Sunday, go home. What you guys were supposed to do with these all week? Do you remember? What were we supposed to do with these pictures all week? Go ahead, tell me, Douglas.
You were supposed to give it to your parents and then ask them to take you.
Ask them to bring you tonight. Looks like some of you did that. Good job. And we also asked you to pray for him all week, right, to get here safely and be with us. So thank you for doing that. And kids, I did tell you this, and I told Brother Jason this as well. Any question that you want to ask him, he will answer for you, okay? So you can ask him, like, how big the universe is, how old God is. You can ask him any of those questions, okay? So what Brother Jason's going to do is he's going to come. I don't know what order he's going to go in, but he's going to show us video that he has. He's going to give us an update, just talk about the field, take questions and answers. And then if he gets to it, we have time, he's even going to teach. But if not, hey, we want to know about what's going on in Papua New Guinea. Amen? And so we're thrilled to have him. So you give him your attention, and he's going to take the rest of our time.
Thank you, brother. There we go. All right. Wonderful. Well, good to see everybody tonight. Amen. Thank you for introducing yourselves and telling us your name. And wow, now I have to remember this Sister Norma. Okay, that's all I got. Sorry. Okay. But do appreciate you remembering us. I appreciate your pastor keeping your missionaries before you. And that's great. Well, you've been supporting us, I think, for maybe 12 years now. I think that's about right. 12 years. We've been on the field for almost 25. We went in 2000. And, a video is just a snippet, right? Just a snippet. And do know this, that if you'd like to come visit, we would be happy to have you come. It'd be a great vacation, right? Right. But a video will help you see the sights, as I normally say, see the sights and hear the sounds without having to feel the humidity or smell the smells. How's that? Isn't that great? Yeah. I mean, you guys have the heat, so I can't say feel the heat because you know what the heat is all about. But the humidity, you don't know anything about that. Not around here. Not too much. We arrived back in country on December 30th and spent most of January with our church family there in San Diego and visiting. Our son is in LA, the LA area. We have grandsons now. It was nice to be able to spend time with them. But so we've been in this dry climate now. Hello, Merry Christmas. We've been in this dry climate now for 2 months, and all of us, our skin is peeling, and boy, how do you do it? Baby oil. See, I was asking about that, and no one, they said, no, not baby oil, because I'm trying this lotion, and the lotion is thick, and I'm hairy, and it's just, forget it, you know. But baby oil, that's the way to go. Okay. I will definitely try it. I'm almost desperate. Yeah, good. Well, let's take a trip to New Guinea. Before we do, I normally do this, and maybe I've done this, I'm sure I've done this here before, but maybe you forgot it. I'd like to illustrate, why do we show a missionary film video? This is why. I want everybody to put your hand up like you're going to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Right hand up. Everybody got it up? Full participation. Pasta, good. Now put your finger on your thumb like you're saying A-OK. No, like that, sorry. A-OK. There we go. Why do missionaries show videos? This is why. Now put this shape on your chin. How many put it on your chin? Some of you got it. Good on you. Good on you. You say, what's the big idea of making fun of us? Most people pay more attention to what they see than what they hear. Good one. And you guys are on it. Over here too. But let's take a trip to New Guinea. Are we able to kill the lights or turn them off a little bit? I tell some of the media people, our people are black, so if you don't turn the lights off, you're not going to see them. There we go. All right, here we go. Now I cannot see where the chair is.
My name is Jason Russell. I represent our family, the Russell family. We're missionaries in Papua New Guinea. We arrived in Papua New Guinea in June of 2000. As soon as we could, we went to the Western Province to begin our work on the island of Daru. God has blessed our work with a Bible school program, with a radio ministry, with many people called and ordained into the ministry. God has allowed us to have a drilling ministry we called Baptist Drillers. Several of our Bible school students have gone through the program and have worked with me on the drilling machine, on the sawmill machine, building churches, building pastors' houses, and God has blessed over these years. As we're able to preach in villages and young men get saved, they have this desire, natural desire, to reach their own people. We do this intensive discipleship and training. We've been able to see many churches started. We have a church in Yamega, one in Ruan, one in Weem, another one in Padare, another one on the island of Parama, another one beginning in Milbie, another one in Boze village, another one in Waidoro. We have 2 churches now on the island of Daru, the main church where we began, but also a church plant on the other side of the island. One of our graduates has started a church there. The Genesis Family Baptist Church of Kondabo Village was begun by one of their own men who got saved in the capital. And in 2022, we went to that village and began to mill timber and to build a brand new church building for them. 63 miles of driving through the bush, cutting trees off the road, building bridges so we can get across to the other side. I had designed a building, they're building a computer program. And so we milled the timber and we had no power tools. Everything was handsaw or chainsaw. You know, we were going to plant the posts, and I said, is there going to be any, like, groundbreaking? And they didn't know what a groundbreaking was. So I began to describe a groundbreaking. They began to move quickly and put flowers together and coconut leaves that when we cut the ribbon, they would spring out and flowers flew everywhere. And these people just work so hard, such wonderful people in the village of Kondabo. We were also able to go to Kondabo and drill 2 water bores for this community. I love these people so dearly and so happy for them. When we first moved to the bush in 2005, I had visited the bush, walked different places to get to villages, but we never lived there permanently. And as a result of living there, we realized the dry seasons are very long. We needed water. And so as a result of that, I began to research how to drill and bought a small drilling machine, and then that led us to buying a bigger industrial one for others. We formed a small business called Baptist Drillers. One, I'm able to employ our Bible school students. We're able to teach them a trade, but also the door has been just been thrown wide open for us to come to any village at any time. In 2024, Baptist Drillers was able to drill in about 25 different communities, over 30 water bores we drilled. Some of the villages we went to, they were just so ecstatic for us to come, and they put on a big celebration, and they were just praying that we'd find water for them. And I always tell the villages, when we drill, I don't make water. God has to provide it. The men and I, we just continued drilling in the rain. This water bore produced almost 3 gallons a second, and they didn't know what was happening, but I was just rejoicing, and they saw me rejoicing, and they began to rejoice all over again. Villages are now asking us to come. But beyond the physical need, they give me opportunities to preach to them. Drilling is our means of reaching the community for church planting. We've been burdened for the Moorhead area for a very long time. We've been asking God to send missionaries there, and yet no one has come. God sent us there to drill. We've been there for several months at different times throughout the last couple of years. We've already established a brand new church there. We call it Moorhead Baptist Fellowship. We have about 20 people, and we've applied for land in Moorhead as well to see if we can establish a permanent work. And so now we're faced with an issue. We have a ministry on the island of Daru. We have a ministry in the bush in a place called Weeping. But also we are just filled with a burden for this area of Moorhead, and we are expecting to go. Our people in Daru have wept with us as we've considered the great need, but also the great distance involved. And my wife and I prayed, and we're willing to go, but we're going to need your prayers. Some years ago, when I voiced this burden to some other people that were serving with Missionary Aviation Fellowship, they cautioned me and were really worried. And they said, Jason, every missionary that goes to this area, their bodies get broken. They leave the field out of sickness. And they said, be very careful. Make sure it's God's will that you go there. And so we need your prayers.
David has a sore on his knee. When he is years old, we're going to show him this video. You goofhead.
So God has given my wife and I 5 children. Libby, Titus. They were just small when we went to Papua New Guinea in 2000. And then while we've been on the field, God gave us Ruth. We thought about Ruth as, she came from another country. And then God gave us 2 more children, Joy in 2006 and David in 2007. We get to teach an hour in 2 different schools on Wednesdays. For the past several years, Joy, even as a teenager herself, has been teaching different grades. And now it's 2025, and Joy and David's time is now finished in Papua New Guinea. Their visas have expired. And now we're bringing them back to the U.S. to continue their life and find God's will for them.
I was born and raised in New Guinea, and my whole life is there. In the bush, I help my dad and Baptist Drillers. They consider me, for the most part, as one of them, and I wouldn't trade it for anything else.
I appreciate what the Lord has done in my life, been able to help my parents in the ministry, getting to know those students and seeing some of them come to our church and get saved, getting to mentor them and disciple them, and we've become great friends. Leaving was hard, leaving PNG, saying goodbye to people. Yeah.
Honestly, our work is, we honestly don't feel like it's anything special because it's just our life of what we do. It's been 25 years since you sent the Russell family to the field of Papua New Guinea. God has saved souls. He's trained men and women for ministry. We've seen churches started. We've seen Christians growing in their faith in the Lord Jesus. We've now seen some of our pastors gone on to heaven. Although the Russell children will not be returning, we're excited about the opportunity to return back to the field of Papua New Guinea. We thank you for your faithfulness. Some of you have been supporting us since 1998, and we're so thankful that you've been faithful.
My family, some of my family's here. There we go. So my wife of 29, almost 30 years is here, and our oldest daughter, Libby. Libby is traveling with us, doing her deputation, preparing to go to New Guinea to serve in another area with another missions team. And so we're excited about what she's doing. Her prayer card is back there. I hope that you'll get one of hers and pray for her as she travels and presents her ministry here and there. And then Joy is 18, and she's here, and the baby of the family, the one you saw with the sore on his knee, that's David. Right. Good. Well, any comments or questions as you saw a little bit of our work there? Am I in the wrong spot? Let me get up here. I'll get behind that thing. Yes, sir. Anybody? Otherwise, we'll pray and go home. Yes, sir.
What happens to your kids now that they can't go back?
Well, they have to come here. And so this is our third furlough doing this. In 2015, we left the first two, Libby and Titus. And then in 2020, we left another one, Ruth. And Ruth is in Bible college today. And then now we're going to leave the last two. And there's two ways to look at this, people say. It could either it could be like empty nesting, which sounds really sad for the wife, right? But we've chosen to call it honeymoon 2.0. Back to the beginning. And we are not adopting anybody. A lot of our families in PNG, when their children grow up, the wives just can't handle spending all the time with the husband, so they adopt another one, and she puts her attention on that little one, and that man goes back to doing whatever he's doing. Yeah. You're just beginning. Yeah, congratulations. It's wonderful and terrible, right? Wonderful. Good. Anybody else? A comment or question? Young people? Okay. Yes, sir?
How is Moorhead area different from where?
Good. So Moorhead, it's 100 miles as the crow flies from Daru. Well, actually, as the airplane flies, 100 miles from Daru. And the geography of the place is really flat. Can you turn me down a little bit there? The geography is really flat, whereas in Weeping, there were no mountains, but it was all up and downs, and they were a little straight, and then you go down again. But in Moorhead, it's just pretty flat. And where we were in Weeping, you saw those little tags where we've had churches started. The villages are all really spread out, about 3 hours walk from each one. Whereas in Moorhead, the villages are bigger and closer together. Yes, and so I've spent several months over there the last couple of years, and we see people over there with motorbikes, whereas in Weeping, nobody even has bicycles. I mean, there's bicycles, but people just walking, carrying their loads everywhere, no animals to carry their things. But in Moorhead, just a different mentality. They're closer to the Indonesian border, so they trade. Normally, they'll trade deer horns. A lot of deer where we live. They trade deer horns with Indonesians, and they'll buy bicycles and buy motorbikes. But in the Moorhead area, there's just so vast of an area that you can travel by motorbike. And so we bought 2 motorbikes last year to do that. And there's that. The rainy seasons are, it's really, really wet, and the dry seasons are really, really dry. I don't know how to explain it except for like this area that we just drove around. In the rainy season, you just can't. The water will be knee-high just everywhere. Looks like a gigantic lake from the sky. When you fly in, it's just water everywhere. But in the dry season, that stuff just turns to powder, when you're driving on it. Just dust, powder. Not even sand, it's powder. You've seen that stuff, I'm sure. Yeah. But as a result of drilling, we drilled in about 25 communities last year, mainly around that area, and just a supreme open door. I can literally go anywhere. People have offered me land in their area, in their villages, and one day we'll take advantage of that and build a church building, one day. Yes, sir.
Will you be taking your drilling equipment or?
Yep, that's what we took over there. So we actually had to make the roads where we were. There used to be roads about 10 years ago, and we wanted to go to all these villages since we were already way out there. A barge took us there, and get to Weeping and back to Daru, we went by the road. They call it a highway. It's not a highway, I say words like that. It's called the Barramundi Highway or the Transfly Highway or like that. But the government was really appreciative. We broke the road open again, and the government was so appreciative that we did it. Most of those villages hadn't seen a vehicle in like 10 years. And that was the last time we went by that way. And just nuts. Such a great opportunity, though. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You mentioned that someone had told you that the people who have been there before you, that they leave broken.
Yep.
What do they account for that? Is it the landscape or lack of care or the inability to get in and out, timely?
Right. I've asked about that, and some of what they say is spiritual oppression of the area, darkness, and I sense that. I can't exactly answer it. On the health side, again, I spent months over there, and the sicknesses of the people are the same sicknesses where we came from, but I don't understand it quite yet either. So we'll just find out. It is great that in the Moorhead area there's a lot of attention going on over there for some reason. The Israelis have come in and they're putting vanilla farms all over the place in our area. The dividends from the big gold mine up in the north have finally, someone got a good strategy, I guess it is, for implementing the dividends of that. And so they're putting these vanilla farms all over the place with greenhouses and just massive stuff. And so they've done that in Daru, they've done it at Oriomo, they've done it at a place called Arufi. I know you don't know these names, but they're just scattered around, and at Moorhead as well. And as a result of that, the Israelis came in and built a nice hospital. And they just commissioned it last week. Last week, the governor was there and other big people were there. And I actually spent 3 nights in it. When I got a kidney stone in the bush. October 18th is a day that will live in infamy for me. I literally thought, I didn't know exactly what was happening, but by about 4 in the morning, there was a cell phone tower in the area. I texted my wife and I said, I love you. I think I'm gone. I really thought I was going to die. How many have had a kidney stone? You get it. In the end, I finally, so the guys, they saw my condition, and they never seen me like that, and we just started drilling. We'd been there a week. All this effort to get there, and then this one. Anyways, they made me go to the hospital, spent 3 days there. They had a scanner that didn't show anything, and they didn't have any answers. So I got a flight out. It took me a while to get a flight out. Went to the Capitol. My wife went with me because we thought I was going to die, and ended up having a 5-millimeter stone. And it was not round. It looked like an asteroid. I was expecting a round stone. It was not round like an asteroid when it finally, made its way out. So when I went to the doctor, the urologist, he's married to a girl that grew up in our church on the island. And so when he met with me, he said, pasta, not pasta, but like what you eat, but pasta, you will have pain, but it will pass. Or you have pain in your future, but it will pass. Okay, thanks for your comfort. No sympathy at all, just you will have pain in your future. And he just told me to drink a lot of water, so I drank a lot of water, and finally on December 10th, it popped out. 2 months, brother. Went back, once I knew what it was, I'm just popping pain pills when I needed them to keep going, because we had to keep going because the dry season was going to end, and once the dry season ends, you're stuck. And so, praise the Lord, we made it through. And I made it through that whole project and got home on like December 3rd or something like that, and then it popped out. No doubt. There was no doubt.
So what do they plant if they're half the year underwater,
Good.
the other half totally dry?
So over in that area is really fascinating. In where we had been ministering, sago is the main staple. Sago is what you saw right in the beginning of the video. This guy is smashing something. It's a big palm tree about that big. It takes about 20 years to mature. And our people eat that every day in the Weeping area. Well, out there, they don't have that. Why? Because there's no rivers, no creeks around. There's a big river, but I don't know why there's no sagos around there. And so yam is a big thing. Say it again. Oh, okay. Yam is a big thing. Now, yam is not what you buy in our shops here that's orange. That's sweet potato, right? But yam, it looks like your grandmother's hairy calf. No. You know, but it gets round and like a calf. Anyways, my grandmother. Anyways, it's round like that and kind of hairy and prickly, and when you peel it, it's sticky, slimy. There's a couple different types of it. It's just a major starch, and our people eat that and they love it, and they want it today, tomorrow, and the next day, and they'll eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like, whoa, can we try something else, please? When we were milling for that big church building there a few years ago, you know, our people are so very kind to me. They know I'm not from there, not like them, and so they'll do their best to have a variety for me. I mean, they'll go kill a deer or kill a wallaby or a bandicoot or something, and so that I can have some sort of protein. Sometimes big catfish, amazing big catfish over there, and so I'm eating pretty good, man. I've got all this variety going on, and they'll normally serve me first. And then once I've got my plate, then everybody just goes for this big bowl full of slimy yams. And like they never had it in their life, and they think this is going to be apple pie, and they're just going for it. And man, you had that yesterday morning, night, and noon and night. It doesn't matter. They just want it. Not even any sugar on it. It's crazy. But, okay, so yam. Do you know cassava, that name? Yes. Tapioca, same thing. Manioc, is that the same word? And so that's a tuber. It'll grow all year long, and you'll see big fields of it that they'll plant. And banana, the banana is not just banana like which we eat, the ripe stuff, but there's lots of varieties of cooking bananas. And bananas, too, will grow just about any time. So banana, cassava, sweet potatoes actually becoming a popular thing in our area. It used to not be very popular, very rare to see sweet potato, but now that's pretty common. What else on the vegetable side? Greens. How many have ever heard of Ibeca? Ibeca is like plastic, but it's good for you, so you eat it anyways. We don't really care for Ibeca too much, and it's slimy too. I don't know all these slimy foods. Huh? No, this is a leaf. This is just a leaf. You're just eating the leaf, and there's different types of them. And different types of greens. How many like to eat green leafy things? Not salad, but things you cook. We eat a lot of greens. Popeye the Sailor, man, toot, toot. You know, get all kinds of greens. We just call them greens because they're green. I'm sure they've got names for them. My wife would know the names. What's our favorite? Alpa. Alpa's our favorite. Anybody know Alpa? Huh? Amaranth in English or whatever, but we call it Alpa. That's probably our favorite one. Before it gets bitter, we like it, that one. And then we have meat in our area. There's deer, pig, wallaby, bandicoot, which is, I think, related to the possum somehow. It's got a long kind of snout to it and lots of teeth. You know, they'll look like that at you. But deer is our main red meat on the mainland. On the island and on the coast, turtle is their main red meat, big sea turtle, or what do you call it, manatee? You know manatee? Sea cow. It's good for Sunday afternoon roast. It's good, red meat. I know I'm grossing some people out. That's what missionaries are supposed to do. Strange food you people eat.
When you're here, how is it hard to adjust your eating?
My wife is, I'm sorry ladies, my wife is the most amazing cook. She will beat anybody hands down. She's a student. And so with that, she's found ways to make their food, or our food out of their food. You know, just amazing, amazing things. How many ever saw that TV program, must have been in the 90s, what's that guy, Brown, Alton Brown? Oh, yes. What was it called? Good Eats. And he had one of the episodes was called Substitute, where you could substitute one item to make another item. My wife is the queen of doing that. So we eat Mexican, Vietnamese, Thai food, and all kinds of food. Yes?
What did you crave when you first came back? What was your...
Chimichanga.
Chimichanga?
So a couple of furloughs ago, I was on, I'll get you just in a minute, I was on the hunt for the nation's best chimichanga. Okay, we're from San Diego, so, you know. But I found it, in my opinion, in Conway, Arkansas. Man, it was good, just made it right. So I've had a couple chimichangas since I've been here, and everybody makes it a little different, right? But for me, it's got to have guacamole, it's got to have sour cream, it's got to have some salsa, you know, and it can't be wet meat. It's got to be cooked properly. But so my first meal I had when I got back to the U.S. was a chimichanga, and I was disappointed. My wife makes it better. Yes, young man.
So how did you teach the people there?
In like what language or?
Like, did you like teach atheists maybe? Like, or did you just?
Say it again.
Did you teach atheists or people like that?
Okay, thank you. Very good question. So here's an interesting thing. English is the national language of Papua New Guinea. And the King James Bible is the official Bible of the country. How about that? They've got it in Parliament, a really old one, 16-something, I don't know what it is. But they had a big ceremony some years ago and made it the official Bible of Papua New Guinea, the King James Bible. But our people are very religious people. Almost like the South. Everybody, not everybody, but most people know the name Jesus. They have their ideas of who that is and things about him. And so indeed, a lot of our work is reteaching them, showing them from the Bible. And it is shocking. I mean, I'll just say it is shocking. When we go to like all these villages we were just saying, and if there's a church in the village, they're going to invite me to speak for them. And so I'll speak for them, and my son was there with me. I'm not like an amazing preacher, okay? I'm just Jason. But they're just always so amazed and so, wow. And all it is we're preaching from the Bible and making the sense of it. The PNG preachers, man, they this is what they say. They speak in parables. I mean, they just want to hear themselves. And they don't make any sense. And typically, they don't confront very well. And so if you want to confront somebody about something, they're going to beat around the bush. Go, 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 go. And sometimes they're hoping you're going to understand what they're saying so they don't have to say it right to your face, right? Right. And so that's how their preachers are, so nobody gets helped. It's really sad. Somebody here mentioned, I think in that prayer letter from Sister Bola, that she was in a Methodist or something like that, and that's 75% of the population. Well, in Papua New Guinea, that group is called the United Church. United Church in the southern region is that. And so the whole South Pacific, same idea. And back in the 1800s, I don't doubt they had the gospel and they preached the gospel. But today it's so convoluted and confusing that people aren't just getting help. That's the truth of it. Yes, sir.
So it sounds like the government over there is nice, but kind of limited. So I'm just wondering if you've had any run-ins with criminal gangs.
Criminal gangs. Let's see, not really gangs. Our people in our area are not organized enough to do that. Every man for himself, A gang might be two, In our area is quite peaceful. We have a 1 meter high fence around our house. It's just a marker. Of course, the dog on this side of the fence kind of helps that whole communication process happen. But up in the highlands, so they're going to have high fences. They're going to have razor wire around the top, all this stuff. I mean, we're not dumb. We've got security wires on our windows that you can climb into, security wires there. But we don't face a whole lot of danger like from gangs and so forth. I have been in danger. I have been accosted. But it's normally someone's drunk or something like that. And I tend to forget all the bad stories. I look at my wife and she reminds me, you remember this? Yes, sir.
So what do all the kids do? What's there for kids in Papua New Guinea?
What's for them is just to do nothing. No. There's a half truth to this thing. Kids, when they're babies, they just love babies. But when they get to start walking and talking, they're just in the way now. Just in the way now. Like, you're not going to find one park on our island. There's no place dedicated for children to play. Nothing. Can you imagine? And so you will see little gangs of boys, they call them squads of boys running, oh, it's my squad or whatever. And you'll see them early morning, 6 a.m., 6:15, 6:30 in the morning, and they're all together. And they're walking around the neighborhood. And for us, we're thinking, where are your parents? Well, parents are sleeping. You know, they woke up, hey, where's my friend? And they want to go out. And then, of course, the older they get, the more trouble they're going to get into, right? So that is a sad thing. But kids are kids. If you give them some attention, they will, you know, absorb it. And so we have a good children's ministry in our churches. We somehow along the line, we were influenced this way to build Sunday school buildings. And most of our PNG pastors, if you go to one of our village churches, they won't have a Sunday school building. But we build Sunday school buildings. We want them to know that there's a place for you here. And this is your classroom. This is your place. We want you here. Does that make sense? Yes. I haven't studied other churches around the U.S., but I don't know if there's dedicated buildings for children's stuff, but I don't know of any other churches, denominations that have anything like that. I mean, most of them don't even have Sunday schools. Yes, sir.
So were all of your children born in Papua New Guinea?
Just the last 3. So Ruth, who is in Chicago area now, she's 24. And then Joy, she's 18, and David, 17. Those 3 were born there. In the same room, on the same day of the week, on a Thursday. Went to church Wednesday night, and that was it. Thursday, each of them. Yes, sir.
Do you have access to water and electricity or grocery stores? And if so, how reliable is that really?
Okay, so on the island, there is a town generator, town supply power. And you never know when that's going to work. Okay, we went 9 months a couple years ago without any town supply power. Yes. So last furlough, we invested in solar. So our radio station, you know, it used to go off every time. We'd have to run downstairs to turn our generator on and, you know, just complicated. So we went 100% solar power for the radio station. And because the power was off so long, we actually, what actually happened is our generator died. And we're like, oh, now what are we going to do? And so I just tried it. I plugged our house into the solar, and it still worked. And so praise the Lord, we survived on solar power. There are grocery stores on the island. They all sell about the same thing. They don't normally sell spices, although they're getting used to doing that now. They don't sell beef. And so I'll fly to the capital, you know, every couple months or so, and I'll buy specialty items. Normally I have to go anyways to get something fixed, and so I'll bring meat home, those type of things. But they sell chicken on the island, lamb, but it's the cheapest, nastiest lamb you'll ever taste. I had lamb when we came back here. Oh, that's what lamb is supposed to taste like. You know, over there it's like, and it's full, just bones mainly. But in the market, you name the fish, the reef fish, the sea fish, saltwater fish, it's there. If you want to eat shark, shark's available. Kind of rubbery though. Sea cucumber, but that isn't any good. But yeah, a lot of protein. Yep. You have a question? Go ahead.
Do missionaries have Bibles?
Do I have Bibles? Yep, I take Bibles over there. The only way they're going to get a Bible is if we bring it. Thankful for BIMI. How many know what BIMI is? They had a Bible program some years ago, and they included us in it. And so every student got a Bible, and we still have some left. And so like every 3 years or so, we go back into the schools and do it again. And it's been a big hit. And therefore, the whole country has been influenced with the King James Bible because that's what we pass out. Yes, sir?
What do New Guineans think of America?
Second heaven. First one is where God is. Second one is where Jason is. If they could come here, they'd come here. They'd love it. They think they would love it. They wouldn't love it. I think they would. But one of the most fascinating things about America is there's food everywhere. 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 And it's good. Yes, sir?
Just for our kids who are here, would you do 2 things? Tell me first of all, what's the best thing about being a missionary?
Good.
And then if a kid maybe today was thinking, man, I might be something God would want me to do. What
Good.
do they need to think about to prepare for something like that?
Joy, you want to say something? You're a kid, or we're a kid. What's the best thing about New Guinea for you, David? You can think of one too.
One of the best things about New Guinea is that people are mostly open to the gospel. At least you
Yes.
coming and sharing with them, giving them the gospel. We don't usually we don't go knocking on doors because they don't have doors. They sleep in their houses, but they stay underneath their house. So we go yard to yard and go sit with people, and most times they're very kind and open and say, come sit down.
They'll give you a chair.
Yeah, very open. If you want to have Bible clubs, then you can have it wherever you want. So very open in that respect.
Very open.
So, Brother Ross, what she's saying there, we here in America, we say things like, man, we support missionary, and we say things like, man, they're sacrificing
Sure.
to go over to a foreign country and serve God.
Sure.
Do you really feel like it's a sacrifice, or do you feel like, man, this is the greatest thing God would ever have us to do?
What do you want me to say? No. There are both sides. It is, my son, you heard him in the video say, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I mean, the activities that they get to do that you can't do over here. One pastor asked my son some time ago, what's the best thing, or what do you miss about Papua New Guinea? And he said the word freedom. He said that in America. Because over there, don't have a lot of regulations chomping at you, he was riding a motorbike, driving a truck over there, no license. We went to the police and we asked him, hey, is it okay? Yeah, go ahead. Did I get that right, David? You just say, that's okay, go ahead. Don't hurt anybody. Okay. But yeah, it's amazing. We're not really touristy people or holiday type people, but we live at the end of the Great Barrier Reef. When we have visitors that come, normally before they leave, I'll take them out to the reef. For me, it's probably like for you going down to Tombstone. How many been to Tombstone? You want to go see it again? You've been there, done that. So that's like it is. Oh, I've been there, done that, but I know it'd be interesting for you, so let's go and go dive around and see things. And we get to move around the jungle. I love chopping trees down. I love milling timber. I love building things. We're drilling for water. That's exciting to see a need met, but also knowing it's opening doors. Go ahead, you say it. What do you want to say?
Have you ever seen a shark before?
I have, and I jumped out of the water back into the boat. Even though it was a small one, I said, I'm not swimming with any shark. He might get a strange idea and want to bite me or something like that. Yeah. My guys laughed at me. I don't care. I have all my fingers and toes still.
That's right, you got to see Pastor with snakes.
Yeah. So we have these guys. What is this fellow? That's a crocodile. Yeah, alligators are on this side of the world, but over there we have crocodiles. Difference is the nose and the eyes and things like that. Yes, sir. You talk.
Have you ever seen a snake before?
Yes, I've seen snakes. But for those of you scared of snakes, I don't see them very often. Okay, I've seen a few, and normally I'm driving on the tractor. When I see them, I try to step on them. So there's lots of different kinds, but the bad ones, there are three. One is called Papuan black. It'll grow about 6 feet long or so, like that. And what color is it? Black, you got it. And then there's the Papuan taipan. Taipan is also black with red tint on top. And the taipan is dangerous because they're aggressive. They'll chase after you. And we got confronted with one, and thankful one of my men was quick. He had a bush knife. He cut a stick with a Y on it quickly and got it like that, picked it up, and snapped his head off. And this other one is called this scary word is called a death adder. You get bit by that and you're done. We have one man that survived, and boy, he's got a story all the time. He loves to tell a story. He got bit by a death adder, and he's so cranky nothing could kill him. His name is Kaus. But death adders are short, fat, and white with black dots on it. So those are the snakes. But crocodiles here, Moorhead area is famous or infamous for these guys. When we were beginning a project a couple years ago, or a year and a half ago, something like that, going to Moorhead, we hired a barge that had an engine in it, and then he had a dummy barge, and then he got another dummy barge to get our things up the river. And my guys were loading it, and they said, enough. And the captain said, who's the captain? And they kept loading. Okay. So they started going down the river, and it's beautiful. So before it went night, the captain decided they'd stop, cook some dinner, some fish, whatever. And while they were cooking, all of a sudden they heard a splash. The barge tipped over. Lost all that stuff, all these pipes and cement bags and some other important things. The point is this: we needed that one hose, the suction hose for the drill rig. I don't know why my guys separated it from the rig and brought it on that one, but they did. And it went down. I said, guys, you got to get it. And so we couldn't get any local people to help because of these guys. So my guys went, and some are making big noise out here, cha-cha-cha-cha, hitting the water while other guys were diving, trying to get it. They couldn't get it. But everybody's just terrified because these fellows eat people. And then there's this animal right here. Any idea what this might be? How did you know? That is amazing. This is my favorite meat right here. They don't have a lot of meat around here, just the legs, the two legs. The picture you saw in the video right in the beginning with me holding up a leg, that was a cassowary leg. It's just wonderful meat for making burritos with it. Yes? Go ahead.
Have you seen a blue whale?
I haven't seen any blue whales, but there was a whale that washed up on the beach one day, and it stunk really bad.
Does that make sound?
What's that?
Does that make sound?
It does. If you hear the sound, you're late. That's what they say. The sound is ha-ha, ha-ha, ha-ha. If you hear it, ha-ha, you're in trouble.
Can you turn on the sound?
No, this doesn't make any sound. But that's just the sound it makes. If you hear that sound. So these guys have a bone on its head. It's not really a bone, but it's got a hard head up here. And then it's got 3 toes. And so they'll move around. I'm not going to hurt you, okay? But it'll move around, and then it'll just come at you. And
Can they go really fast?
and they run fast. Yeah, they're fascinating to watch, to see them run. And I joke with our people because our people they'll like to walk like this, that's just how they wander around. When they don't have to go anywhere, they just walk like this. And I'll joke and say, "You're walking like a cassowary." Oh, right. Yes. Go ahead.
How many kinds of good snakes did you see?
Well, we had a brown snake. I don't know what. Jill, thank you, in our house, and my wife didn't appreciate that. And Jill is just a rat snake, is just looking for rats, And we never had a rat in that house, so I don't know why he came to visit. Maybe we didn't have rats because he was there. So that's a good one. So story, some of the guys when we were building our house, they were sleeping downstairs, and we sleep under mosquito nets. And with this one brother, Toto, when he woke up in the morning, he had a big snake skin on top of his net. That's kind of scary. Yeah. Okay, so we got this guy right here. What's he? Cassowary. No, that's not poisonous. That's just good food. And then this fellow, turtle, sea turtle. That's I don't really like sea turtle. Oh, here's your snake right here, huh? Snake right here. Got. I do. Now in our house, there are big green frogs. We have 2 frogs that live in our house on the island, and we allow them to stay there. One stays on the left side of the kitchen, and one stays on the right side of the kitchen. We've named them Eldad and Medad. They're just in there. And in the night, they come out. After we turn the lights out, they'll come out and do their business. What do frogs eat? Bugs.
Flies?
Not flies, but these guys will eat like cockroaches. But our cockroaches are like water bugs. They're really big guys. But they like to eat those, so we let them stay in the house. And in the morning, I normally wake up early. And when I turn the lights on, they kind of look at me, and then they go back to their spot. Yes, sir?
What was the name of the first animal?
Crocodile or cassowary?
Yeah, that one.
Cassowary. You should look it up, and you'll see them on TV somewhere. All right. This right here is a quina shell. This was the beginning of our money in the country. The denomination is called quina. And in the early days, the people on the coast used to travel to the mountains and trade with those things. This one, iguana. You have them around here? Or? You have lizards, but maybe not iguanas. But they're good to eat too. We've eaten python. Okay, python's another snake. Papua New Guinea is known for this. This is coffee. Yeah, coffee. I always put cream in mine, so I don't really know if their coffee is good or not because I just cover it up. Yeah. All right. Any last questions? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
What, like, how do I say it?
You have to decide.
Like, I'm wondering about technology. Like, do they know what a television is?
Oh, yes.
Are there cell phones?
Yes.
Cell towers?
Yes.
And then can you describe what the houses are like?
Sure. Perfect. So when we first went, of course, there were no cell phones. We used ham radio to communicate with missionaries around the country. We had 3 skid times, one in the morning, midday, and evening. And that was a nice thing where we could communicate with all the missionaries around. You get to hear everybody's business, you know. A good place for gossiping. One time we had some people coming to work with us, and it was David, is that right? Yeah. David was outside their window, and they saw him out there, and they said, "Are you eavesdropping?" He said, "No, I'm just listening." He didn't know that word, eavesdropping. No, I'm just listening. That is the Bush way to do things. They just listen no matter what. But yeah, we have cell phones now. You name the phones. Digicel's our main carrier, and they're kind of a Caribbean business actually. But they make big money in our country because our people will get a phone, and then maybe the wife will see the name of another woman or something like that, and she'll smash the phone, and they just have to go buy another one, you know. I mean, just destroying things all the time. They love it. So cell phones are readily available. There's network spots. It's not like everywhere. But houses, most of our people build their houses out of sticks. I build my house with sticks. And they just go down to the bush, cut sticks. It is a process. It takes, everything they're carrying on their shoulder. So when we went to build that church building in Condable some years ago, I designed, as I said, the building in my computer. We're going to go mill it. I was going to mill it for them and thought they were going to build it. But when I showed them the plans, you could tell they didn't have a clue of what to do with these sawn timbers. And so I stayed and we built it. It took us 11 days. It was phenomenal. 11 days to build this. It was 15 by 15 meter. So what's that, about 45 by 45 foot building. And it just worked out wonderful. No power tools, just handsaw and chainsaw. It was good. But yeah, they build out of sticks. Their wall, the outside covering in the Moorhead area, it could be bark from a tree, like hard, like they peel the tree off and they put that on. In some areas, they use another type of bark that's soft like paper, and it's thick. And when they use that on their roof, it's actually a blessing. It's really cool inside the building when they use that. If they're modern, they'll use that corrugated iron for their roofing, and sometimes they'll use the skin from a branch of the sago tree. They'll peel it, and then they'll sew it together, weave it together, and use that. We call it blind. It's nice. And their houses will last up to 10 years before they have to replace it. Termites get it and fix it up again. Yes, sir?
So now that you're not there, are they still drilling? And
No.
is the radio station still running?
Both of them are negative. So the radio station, last time we left it on, and it wasn't the way we left it when we came back. And because of the solar, things are a bit more complicated with it. So we just decided to turn it off while we're gone. And the drilling, we're taking this time to do heavy maintenance, going to break the whole machine down and rebuild it, put some new materials on it. All the guys know, they know how to do everything, but they just haven't figured out the drilling thing yet. I tried a couple guys and it didn't go well. Holes went crooked and it's terrible.
Did I understand from your most recent letter that you're going to take back another rig with you? You want to?
No, we're not going to take another rig. There's 3 projects we're raising funds for. A container, we're going to put drilling materials in. Like I'm buying new rods. Our rods are 10 years old. We've broken 2, and when you break them, if you break it at the bottom, it's no big deal. You just lose a bit. But if they break at the top or midway, you just lose everything. It's terrible. I've tried to fish them. I haven't been successful at fishing. You know those terms, fishing. I haven't been successful. So I'm buying some new rods and some new bits and just things to upgrade the machine. And I actually met with a businessman last week, a driller, Christian man, and he looked at what we're doing, and he just identified one thing that would make everything we do a whole lot better. It's a shaker, mud shaker. So right now we dig pits. We hate that part, hate digging pits. And sometimes we have to put canvas in the pit because the dry season is so severe, the water just goes out, and the water is scarce to begin with. And so the way he described his shaker, will solve a lot of those issues. So he might build one for us or buy one for us or something like that. But we're shipping a container, so we're raising funds to ship the container. We already bought the container. It's on the ground in San Diego. And we're going to we need to buy a vehicle this time. We've only had tractors. We're going to try to buy a truck this time. And then we're going to set up in a new area, so we're saving money for that.
And you had some problems purchasing some property.
Constant. It's not a purchasing problem. We can't purchase land because of being foreigners. We have to lease it from the government, and it's all paperwork. It's been 9 years. I have 3 containers on the ground on our island with building materials in it. 9 years. And so, as I was telling your pastor, just yesterday, Sunday, I was on the phone with the deputy provincial administrator who is in charge of lands, and I had the pastor at Broken Arrow talk to him. Because I've been going to them and saying, listen, how can I go back again and raise money for things when I haven't used what they gave me last time? I'm telling them, what am I going to do? And so they assured me that before I get back, the 2 properties will have them. And I said, mate, that's not good enough. We need to know now, because how can I go to all these churches without some answer? And so on the 25th of March, I'll contact him again, and by that time, hopefully he'll have some paperwork approved. Here's the drama. In order for land to be awarded, they have to have a land board meeting. They have not had a land board meeting in our area since 2005. Insanity. That's what I tell them. It's insane. So I've met with all the big guys in the Capitol and the whole bit, and they said, nothing we can do. We've got to have a land board meeting. Well, schedule it. So the way we got around it last time is when I went to Weeping, they hadn't had a land board meeting yet either. And so they wrote a letter with all the statutes in it, giving us permission to occupy in lieu of the land board meeting. And then they had a land board meeting, and that's when we got the land in Weeping. And so that's what I've asked them to do. I still had a copy of that letter from back then that I presented to them. Can you do this again? And that's what they're going to do. But there's a couple steps. They had to do this not evaluation, land siting. And we've done this 3-4 times already. We got to do it again because this is a new year. And so we're going to do it again and sign that paper and get it done. Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Is there any American companies over there that we would recognize as far as the name?
Not where we are, but Exxon.
In the bigger city?
Yeah, Exxon is there.
Any fast food? I know McDonald's.
No, nothing like that. No. We have TFC and KMC, kind of sounds like KFC, and they're chicken places, but they just try to jump on top of a good thing like KFC. They call it TMC or TFC. And over there, there's not a GMC, but the Chinese have brought in a vehicle, JMC. That is not a GMC, that's a JMC. Not to be confused, although it sounds the same, it's not the same. Yes, sir? Yeah, we're close to the Indonesian border. Nope. Nothing. So, Indonesia is the world's largest Muslim country, right? 100 million people. But that's mainly in those islands up there. You come to the main area. There were missionaries there in the 60s and 70s. There's still some there kind of today. The influence is still there. How many have ever heard of the book Peace Child by Don Richardson and Lords of the Earth? I highly recommend both of them. They will give you a good view of missions in New Guinea back in the cannibal days. Okay, but Peace Child is literally 50 miles or 100 miles to the west of where we are now. Same people, same type of people is what I'm saying. So I've got it on audiobook as well, and so I played some of it for our guys, and they're just enthralled. And they're saying names like we know, like Sago and and how they killed the pig and trapped the pig, and it's all the same. They just don't eat people anymore. Same hunting styles, same foods. Yeah, fascinating. Peace Child is the one in the coast, the swamps, and then Lords of the Earth was one in the mountains. Both riveting stories. It will be memorable. Yes, sir. You stop me whenever you want to stop me. Yes, ma'am.
What motivated you to become a missionary?
Come again?
What motivated you
Great.
to become a missionary? Did
So,
you always want to be a missionary?
no.
From the time you were young?
No, it's not like I didn't. I was never really exposed to it. As a child, my grandparents, and therefore us, went to a missionary Baptist church. But I'd never seen a missionary until I came to an independent Baptist church. Crazy, huh? But I got saved in 1990 at camp over there at Broken Arrow. That's where I got saved in 1990. And it was after that. And we started going to our church in San Diego Lighthouse in May of 90. I got saved in August of 90. And missionaries were coming through. And in 1994, I already responded to the call to be a preacher in 1992, March 25, 1992. But we had missionaries coming through regularly. And in that year, we had like 6 missionaries from New Guinea rotate through our church. I don't know why our pastor did that, but one of them was John Gray, and he preached a message called the 6 D's to missionary work. And one of them, I don't remember the outline. I've actually asked someone for the tape recently to see if they can get me the tape, make it digital so I can hear that message again. But one of them was the doubt and disappointment of God's people. That's part of missions. Sometimes missionaries feel like you're doubting their work and are disappointed with their work. Sometimes that can happen. And one of the sub-points, he was a great pointer and sub-pointer, was in not visiting your missionaries. And so in that service, I was sitting up here in the choir loft. The church was packed, so all the single men would sit in the choir loft. Choir would go down, and all the young guys would get up there to leave space for families. And so I was sitting over there while Brother John was preaching. And so I came to him after the service and asked him, would you really let someone come visit you? I thought this was like crazy. I never heard of that before. And he said, yeah, we'd love to have someone come visit. And so I graduated in May of 94, and I got on a plane June 1st and went over to visit him. Someone paid my way. My youth pastor, actually, paid my way. His name was David Swim, of whom we named our last son after David. And so I went over. I didn't go because I wanted to be a missionary. I just finished high school. Wanted to be a blessing. I did want to be a blessing, but, adventure. And I got to travel around with another veteran missionary through the swamps of New Guinea. And I cannot tell you that I enjoyed it. I actually did not enjoy it. It's hot, stinky, sweaty, swampy. I've never been a camper, so I didn't know how to do the business that we have to do every day in the bush. Do you get what I'm saying? I just didn't know how to do it. I went into the toilet, and I saw that hole. I went back out and asked him, how do you do that without making a mess of yourself? I'm sorry, maybe too graphic. I'm just trying to say it was not my intent. But when it was time for me to leave, I flew out by myself. The Gulf of Papua was on my right, the mainland was on my left, and I saw smoke rising from different places, and there's no roads, no airstrips, and my heart just broke that there were people potentially out there that no one had ever reached them before. And I surrendered, but it was on March the 3rd, 1995 that I believe God called me to go there. He used a passage of Scripture found in 1 Thessalonians 5:24, where it says, faithful is he that calleth you, who also will do it. And just like my verse that God used to call me to preach, 2 Samuel 22:30, for by thee I've run through a troop, by my God have I leaped over a wall. That means nothing to most people, but for me, I was dealing with commitment, struggling with this commitment, and it was on March 25, 92 that I surrendered my life to be a preacher, and it was on March the 3rd, 1995 that I surrendered to be a missionary. And I was already in Bible school. I knew I was going to be a preacher. I just didn't know if I was going to be a pastor or what. I didn't have any idea. But surrendered and then just made a focus for that. My wife and I married that year. She knew that we were going to be going to New Guinea, so it wasn't a shock to her. And she had surrendered to missions young. I didn't even know that when I told her that God had called me to go to New Guinea. I didn't even know, but she had surrendered to missions as a young girl. And so it's been a dream come true. And you can be a missionary too. I can be a little missionary if the gospel story to the lost I carry. I don't have to wait until I'm grown up. Da 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 da. Something like that. Haven't sung that in a long time. But you can be a missionary. Hey, young people, God can use you. I don't know the home you're in, but my parents had split up, and it was just my mom and us kids, and got saved as a teenager, and just had desire to serve. I was a bus captain, worked in the bus ministry, just did whatever I could to serve Him. Can I share one verse with you before we go? Let's see. Let me see if I can see that reference real quick. Will it open up? No. There it is. Okay. I'm going to get this one reference and I can go from there. There it is. I'm going to teach you a song, and then I'm going to give you a verse. Psalm 113:3, from the rising of the sun unto the going down of the same. You know that song? Okay. We're going to sing it island style. I'm going to teach it to you in English, and then I'm going to teach it to you in the pidgin language. Okay? Young people, are we still alive, or did they take off? They'll be back. Okay. From the rising of the sun unto the going down of the same, the name of the Lord is to be praised. Okay, now you try it. From the rising of the sun unto the going down of the same, the name of the Lord is to be praised. Praise ye the Lord. Praise ye the Lord. From the rising of the sun unto the going down of the same, the name of the Lord is to be praised. I sang that +1 a little fast, okay? Pidgin. Time sun, e go on top. Time sun, e go down too. Does that make sense? Time sun, e go on top. Time sun, e go down too. You me all get to lift him up, him name belong God. Time sun, e go on top. Time sun, e go down too. You me all get to lift him up, him name belong God. You got the idea? And then we sing, lift him up, him, lift him up, him. You can understand that? Praise ye the Lord, lift him up. All right, like that. Let me give you a verse. Jeremiah 29, verse number 11 says, for I know the thoughts that I have toward you. What are those thoughts, saith the Lord? Thoughts of peace and not of evil. And it says to give you an expected end. One of the amazing things about God is He knows the end from the what? He knows the end from the beginning. Okay, I'll use this one. If I wanted to get this, let's see, we'll find something. I'm going to use this chair right here. There we go. It's not a bucket, but we'll try it. If I wanted to get this and land on that chair, how would I do that? Throw it straight? Can't do that. There's got to be a trajectory. Nope, missed it. Try it again. There's got to be a trajectory. So my kids and I, we went on Monday with the Deer family to the Chiricahua Mountains. Chiricahua, I'm sorry. Chiricahua. Foreign tongues. And just spent the day with the Deer family that knew me when I was, when I got saved. And they played this game. What was the name of that game, Joey? Huh? Boji? Bocce. Is that a familiar thing around here? Bocce ball. It's got these little 2 balls here, and you got the little white ball, and the little white ball you throw, and then you got to get these other balls to land close to that one, right? And when my kids started doing it, they would throw it like that. And it would never take off right past the goal, right? And so finally I got in the game, and I just went, bonk. And it would get close. My kids were like, wow, Dad, man, that's awesome. He can drill water, he can sawmill trees, and he can throw a ball and make it land at next. Amazing, Dad. And it's all about trajectory. Kids, how do you get to the place of being a missionary? How do you get there? God knows how to get you there. But you got to get yourself on a trajectory to get there. Let me just give you a couple thoughts here, and it'll be done. To get on the right trajectory as a Christian, for those of you that are big in here, you'll just concur. You got to begin a relationship with God by reading the Bible every day. Doing what every day? Reading the Bible. Who said that? Right over here. Good. Give that girl a candy bar. Papua New Guinea candy. We've got it over here somewhere. There it is. She'll get it. Got to read your Bible every day. If you don't get on that, if you don't do that, you're going to miss the mark. You know, when our astronauts wanted to go to the moon, did they go straight to the moon? Man, they went in the wrong direction, but the moon caught up to them, or they caught up to the moon, or something, right? You don't just go straight. There's a trajectory to get on. Second thing is we need to have a concern for souls, not just there, but you got to have that concern for over here. As they say, if you're not doing it here, you're not going to do it there. There's a truth to that. You got to do it here. You got to do it here and there. The third thing to get on the right trajectory to serve God with your life is to learn how to tithe and to give. I think we've all heard of the guy Dave Ramsey. Have you heard of that guy, this financial guy? And he teaches the principle of tithing to lost people. And I mean, tithing, it's not just going to benefit your church, he teaches, but it's going to benefit you as a person. When you learn how to give, principally give, it'll help you. And, you know, people that don't tithe, they're very selfish people. Have you found that?
Yes.
I mean, selfish. Haven't learned how to give. America is probably the most giving country in the world. We give and give and give and give and give. The fourth thing to get on the right trajectory in serving God is to learn to listen more than you speak. Last year, not this year, but last year, I normally try to get a little phrase or a theme that I try to focus my life on for the year. And last year, it was listen, learn, lead. I know that I talk a lot, and you can't learn a lot by talking. And so I determined last year to do a lot more listening so I could learn that I can better lead my people there. Listen, learn, lead. And then last one, if you're going to get on the trajectory to serve God, you got to believe that God can. You know, in Psalm 73, the Bible says that they limited the Holy One of Israel. How can you stop God? The Bible says, they said, can God furnish a table in the wilderness? God gave me that thought. I don't remember what year it was, Anna. Before he went to Weeping? But I preached all over the country, can God? And it said, God can. Old preacher Harold Seitler preached a message like that. And I absorbed that thing. Oh, that's right. Can God? God can. You know, the world says, can God? Doubt. But if we're going to serve God faithfully and successfully, we've got to believe that God can. He can. You name it. He can do it. We can't get to the place where we question, will he do it? Now, that's another item. But God can. God can do anything, anything, anything. God can do anything but fail. He can save, he can keep, he can cleanse, and he will. God can do anything. You're going to have a baby right now? You're all right. Okay, tonight maybe. Tomorrow's Thursday. Wait till tomorrow. I saw her looking a little uncomfortable. Uh-oh. That's it. It always worked for my wife. Long-winded preaching, finish. But young people, you have any more of those, Joyce? Oh, she put them back. Let me get those and then I'll finish right here. Young people, old people. You may all get to. If you're going to serve God and you're going to hit the mark, you're going to have to get it right. Should I throw it like that? Maybe, but I'll just try. Oh! was not my expected end, but evidently the Lord wanted her to have that. Let's see if I can do it this way. There we go. One more to this other fellow. Don't worry, don't fight. One more, coming at you. Oh, almost Mama got it. Is there another one back there? Here we go. Ready? Ready? Okay, trajectory's off a little bit. I need to work on that. Any other young ones around? Where? Oh, right here. You're being so quiet. There you go. Good job. That is a little taste of Papua New Guinea. This came right from PNG. It's called a boy boy. And we use this as little prizes. It doesn't taste very good. But anyway, he cannot compare to Hershey bar, just no comparison. Is there one more? Here she is. Cannot compare, but it'll be a taste from P&G. Can you catch? Can you catch? Here we go. Bonk. Very good. God's given us an expected end. Father, thank you for our time. Thank you for these dear people who've been so faithful over the many years. I mean, it's one thing for us to be faithful, but if the home light goes out, then many missionaries will not be able to see either. So thank you for this church, Lord, their faithfulness over the years. Pray that you bless them in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Brother Russ.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me say one more item here. On this little banner here, you see 2004, 9, 15, 20. These QR codes, if you snap them, you can see our videos from our furlough video, like the one we just showed from 04, 09, 15, 2020.
How many know what a QR code is? Oh, look at that. Okay, I am shocked.
You should ask how many don't know.
What's that?
You should ask
How many you don't know what a QR code is? Just Kathy. Oh, not, all right, a couple of you. All right.
I just learned about them. They're awesome.
We get a couple kids.
anymore.
We have a couple kids to teach you what those are. Okay. Anyway, God bless you. A couple hands on your way out. And again, thank the Russells for being with us. We do appreciate them spending time with us this evening, and look forward to hearing